Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the line of M3 ramp door springs. Over time, your ramp door springs on your trailer can get really tired. Sometimes they break. A lot of times what we see more than anything is that the cables will break. And if the cable breaks, more than likely the spring is probably not good anymore because that side of the trailer is sprung. Now you can get a double spring, which is what we have here. That's for heavier doors, and you can get single springs. Depending on what your trailer has already or what accessory you've added to the gate may determine whether or not you want to stick with that single spring or bump up to a double spring. With these kits, you're going to have varying lengths, which is from the end of the drum to the end of the drum, and then you're going to have different lengths for the brackets too. So you just have to look on our website, see which kit's going to match up closest to yours. You can cut this bar down on the ends, so if you loosen up the set bolts on each of these, you can scoot the springs in closer. There are some kits on our website that come with a center support. We did not get one with this one for the weight capacity that we have here. So we reused the original one because this is such a wide trailer. So you just want to check out which kit is going to match closest to without going under the total length that yours is. And then all you have to do is just move your drums in and cut off that extra pipe. Now, in addition to those other reasons of why you may have to replace your springs, there are some accessory purposes that you would have to replace them. We added this transition plate about 2 weeks ago on this trailer, and the owner of the trailer brought it back in and said that his gate is significantly heavier to lift, and he doesn't like, after a long day of riding, having to lift the gate up manually by himself. So he wasn't getting a whole lot of help from his old kit. This transition plate weighs about 45 pounds, which you wouldn't think is a whole lot, but when added to the very end of a about 6 foot long gate, it does add up, especially when you're talking about a gate that already weighs 240 pounds to begin with. The springs that we had on this trailer before were 120 pound springs, so we bumped them up to the 160 pound springs, so now he is well over the weight of his door, and based off of the amount of tension that you put on the springs, you can really dial in how easy this door is. I mean, I can lift this gate up with one finger now. It goes up smoothly. The only thing you don't want is you don't want it to be so tight at the end to where you have to pull with great force to try to pull it down. But as long as you're within the turns that are proper for the spring, you should be more than fine. One thing we've seen more recently, actually last week when we were doing this spring, we were doing another spring on another trailer, is that if your trailer has a single spring and you want to upgrade to a double spring, you can do that. Just remember, follow the instructions and make sure that you're not putting too much tension on the gate, because what will happen is you go to try to put your gate down and your gate's going to constantly want to pull up from the ground. And when you're trying to load and unload stuff, or if you're moving in and out with furniture, stuff like that, you don't want to be tripping over the end of your gate because it's constantly wanting to pull up off the ground. When you're picking out a double spring to replace a single spring, the nice part about that is that you can use a lower rated set of springs to be able to do that. So for example, our spring that we removed from the other trailer that we worked on was 120 pound spring. And I can tell you from lifting that door up, that door is over 300 pounds. So that single spring was not hardly doing anything. That's because the owner of our trailer added a 1-inch thick piece of OSB plywood to that gate. So that added quite a bit of weight. So what we did was we upgraded him to 260 pound springs also, and now the gate goes up much smoother. Now finally, once you find out which kit you want to get for your trailer, you're going to have to install it. Now the one thing that we do not recommend doing is charging these springs up yourself at home. I would highly recommend getting your local garage door guy to come by and charge these up. You can get everything else installed yourself. Essentially, it's just going to install the reverse way from how you took off your old one. There's just going to be some bolts on the ends that you'll remove, and then the whole thing will come off. I will say that it's a little bit easier to take this all apart with the door closed because the springs are pretty loose when it's closed. But you might even have them, when they come out, have them loosen up your springs if you haven't, if they're not disconnected. But have them loosen them up. You can throw the kit on in about 20 minutes, and while he's still there, he can go ahead and charge these up for you. That's what we did. I got this whole setup installed, got the whole setup installed on the other trailer we were working on, and then the local garage door guy that we have work on all our doors in the shop here, he came out with his tools, got these charged up, put on our safety rings that come with our kit, and then we got our door working properly. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you to be able to pick out the correct ramp door spring for your trailer.